If you're looking for a new party game that's super easy to play, that's cooperative, and is guaranteed to create some interesting conversations, then stick around. Hey gang, thanks for tuning in and welcome to Tantrum Mouse Studio 3. I'm Will Meadows.
And I'm Sara Meadows, and today we're sharing a review of the game Hard to Get from Gameplay Publishing.
Now, we were able to pick up this copy of the game from the publisher while we were at Essen Spiel for demo purposes. It's from designer Mads Christensen and features art from Mads Berg. Apparently Mads is a popular Danish name. I didn't know that. This game is a Codenames style, give clues, pick the right card from the grid type of game. It works really well for 2 to 12 players. The game is super easy to set up and uses the box lid as one of the components in the game.
At the beginning of the game, the witness will see which card it is they are trying to get the rest of the group to guess.
Each round, they will draw a card and decide which end of the card to show to all of the detectives.
The team must then work to eliminate at least one card from the pool each round.
After the fifth and final clue is given, the players will have to try and narrow it down to just one final answer that they all agree on.
And hopefully they are right and win. But sometimes it's hard to get.
It can be hard to get, yeah, and that's because in this game, unlike Codenames, if you're familiar with that, in this game you're going to be picking a single card each round that has 2 words on it that may or may not seem to be related. Or they might be related in some way.
Like sweet and salty, but it might not have anything to do with your clue that you're trying to get everybody to guess, which is the Death Star.
Right. And so in this game, you only have that amount of information. You've got to pick which side of the card is more like the clue that you're trying to get them out to guess out on the board. And you're just going to simply slot it into the space that's for that round. And then everybody else is going to go on a crazy tirade, conversation, rant, whatever, where they fight with each other about, is the Death Star more salty or is it more sweet? And so it's a crazy game. Everybody's going to be trying to eliminate one card per round, although you can eliminate more than that. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you get a clue that's really helpful, and it kind of, might be like mouse and elephant, and then you get lucky and all the cards on the table are giant things like pyramids and bridges and small things like whatever, and so you're able to eliminate more cards that way. Ultimately, however, by the end of the 5th round, you do have to get it down to just one card that everybody agrees on, and if you're right, then you win the game.
Yeah, we've not won a ton.
It's about 50-50. It is hard to get, but it's really satisfying when you do get it.
It is. Something that I enjoy about the game is the conversations that happen. You're never going to agree with everybody at the table, but you're really ultimately trying to figure out what the witness, whoever's giving the clues, was thinking when they chose the side of the card that they did. Why would they choose salty when there's a bunch of stuff on the table that would think that it goes with the previous clue that they've already given, but now it doesn't seem to line up quite as well? And really, it's probably because none of these words have anything to do with anything that's out on the board.
Right, and usually the most important piece of information for somebody to get is it's not that it's salty, Tom Cruise, the Death Star, and whatever, lions. It's really what was the difference between these 2 words? So you had the choice between Tom Cruise and Tom Hanks, and that's going to kind of help you understand it. So you got to remember what that bottom word is. I think you're allowed to look at it and peek. The basic rules are that the witness can't say anything else. So you're trying not to give away your facial expressions as everybody else is saying exactly what you were thinking.
Which is probably the hardest part about this game.
Right. And it really is just an enjoyable experience. There's not, the strategy to it might be that you kind of know the person, but there's not any real strategy. It is a party game experience where you are generating these fun conversations about, is the Death Star, more like a mouse or more like an elephant, who knows, whatever. In the game, though, it does play really fast, and there's a lot of fun to be had on both sides of the table. So being the witness is obviously a totally different experience, having to pick between, is it this word or this word, and the clue, and the detectives who are all just trying to guess what's going on in the game.
Yeah, I think this may come out more than Codenames for me. The hard part
is the question. Is this the Codenames killer?
This was a rare find at Essen. Everybody was talking about it. Nobody expected this game to come out, I think. So once people started playing it at the event, it was on everybody's hot list immediately. And I see why, because the big downside of Codenames is you have to come up with clues And it's really tricky sometimes to come up with stuff that links things together. This gives you the clues. Now, you don't get a choice at all. You don't get a hand of cards and you get to pick which one you put out first. It's you draw and pick between two things, and that's it. So there's really not a lot of downtime in the game because you have to make a decision between one or the other. So there's not much of a decision sometimes.
Right. I think that is one of the best parts of the game. It eliminates that downtime. It also, I think it seems a little simpler. I know that I've played Codenames. I've introduced it to enough people where somehow we've got somebody in the clue-giving seat who just did not understand the game. They're staring at the rules. They're double-checking to see which cards are theirs. They're thinking about it for a really long time. And then they say, hat 1. And you're like, you spent 7 minutes to think of a one-word synonym for cap? Get out of here. That drives me crazy when that happens. In this game, it literally is like I pick the card out and I'm looking at it. Everybody else at the table can see what the two options are and which one I pick. And then it's back to the action of the game of narrowing it down. One thing I don't know that we actually mentioned is after each round, it's not like you play the entire game and you've lost from the beginning. After each round, you ask the clue giver, are we still in the game? And they say, yes, you've not eliminated the clue. Now we're moving on to the next round. So there is maybe a little bit of strategy in like, I think we could eliminate these other 3 cards. We only have to eliminate 1 for the round, though. So let's wait till the next round, and then we'll confirm if we're actually going to eliminate those to play it a little bit safer. And it is nice to hear that clue giver say, like, yes, we're still in it. Let's go to the next round each time. And then when you get down to that final one, you may have 3 cards left. You might have 5 cards left. There could be a bunch still on the table that you then have to plick out. And now you're looking at all the information you have available to you. It feels like you're getting closer. When you win, it's really great. When you're wrong and they're like, no, it was actually this one, then you're like, we could tell it had to be one of those two. It is kind of neat how totally unrelated words are able to tie together and help you narrow down stuff.
Yeah, this one is a great one in situations where you may want to play in a crowded space, or you can play with lots of people. I know it says 12. It really is however many people you want to split up split up to sit around the table. 12 is probably about how many you can get around a table to talk about it. The more opinions you start adding, the harder it might be. Or maybe it's going to be majority rules because you have people agreeing on things. I don't know.
All right, so let's get some predictions. Do you think they'll be hard to get pictures?
Probably.
Hard to get Marvel? Hard to get Disney?
I don't know about all the IPs, but this would easily translate into some of the other games that we've seen other word games move into.
Yeah, I think hard to get pictures would be interesting. Maybe we'll, fingers crossed for that coming out next year. I've thoroughly enjoyed this. We've played it with a bunch of different age ranges, a bunch of different gaming level experiences. Everybody seems to jump in and have a good time. It's even totally fine for you to be like the introvert person in the corner who doesn't actually share your opinions on stuff. It's still an interesting process to watch because it is entertaining. Watching people say, I think it might be, I don't know, sliding things in and out of play. And if you enjoy that type of party game, definitely check out Hard to Get. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, following along, liking our videos here at Tantrum House.